International. It's time for the news.
The head of state has presided over at the People's Palace here in Algiers a ceremony to honor members of the USM Algiers football team who won the African Confederation Football Cup for the season 2022-2023. More than 790,000 high school pupils are taking the baccalaureate exam for the 2023 session in 2,674 centers across the country. In Morocco, opponents to the country's normalization of relations with Israel have warned that the process, which is speedily implemented, will only cause chaos in the kingdom. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. And I am joined in this presentation with my colleague Mariam Zian. First, the head of state has presided over at the People's Palace here in Algiers a ceremony to honor members of the USM Algiers football team who won the African Confederation Cup for the season 2022-2023. Members of the government and senior state officials attended the ceremony, including the President of the Council of the Nation, Salah Goudjil, of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, the President of the Constitutional Court, Ammar Belhaj, the Prime Minister, Ayman bin Abdurrahman, and the Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, General Saad Jingriha. USM Algiers is a professional football club based in Algiers. The club was founded on November 5th, 1937, and plays its home matches at Stade Omar Hamadi. They are one of the most successful football clubs in Algeria, having won numerous domestic titles. USM Algiers has won the African League Professional 8 times, the Algerian Cup 7 times, and the Algerian Super Cup twice. They have also participated in the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup on several occasions. The team's current squad features a number of talented players, including striker Ayman Mahyous, goalkeeper Oussama bin Bot, and defender Zindine Bel'id. USM Algiers has a strong fan base, and their matches often draw large crowds to the stadium. The club is known for its attacking style of play and has produced many great footballers throughout its history.
More than 790,000 high school pupils are taking the baccalaureate exam for the 2023 session in 2,674 centers across the country. The Minister of Education, Abdelhakim Belabed, has announced the start of the exams today from the province of Ouargla. The Minister of Education has confirmed that all measures have been taken to ensure the smooth running of the exams that will last until the 15th of June, reassuring candidates that the exams will include courses already tackled during the school year. The Minister of Education told our reporter the following.
We have started taking measures early, first by opening exam centers wherever possible and to get as close as possible to remote regions. We have provided our students with transport and accommodation and food to guarantee the success of the exam in those far regions facing extreme conditions. We thank the Ministry of Interior for its support of the Ministry of Education to ensure transport. By the occasion, I should say that it is not just about transport or accommodation, but it is also about the conditions in southern provinces. And in this respect, we provided all exam centers with air conditioners.
Regarding the securitization of exam centers, a special mechanism to ensure the smooth running of the exam have been set up by the Security and the National Gendarmerie Command, and notably to monitor traffic. 18,550, civil protection agents and 1,414 ambulances have been mobilized so that the baccalaureate exam takes place in good conditions.
Several countries have been unanimous in asserting that Algeria's election as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council for the period 2024-2025 was an achievement for the Arabs and the Africans, highlighting that Algeria's presence in the main UN organ body was likely to fulfill the principles and objectives of the UN Charter. The Syrian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Faisal Maqdad, expressed his country's delight at such an achievement, stressing that the election translates the international community's trust and consideration for Algeria. Similarly, the British Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Lord Tariq Ahmed of Wimbledon, congratulated the 5 countries elected to the UN Security Council and considered that their views and expertise in terms of international peace and security are very precious regarding the international challenges. Moscow's ambassador to Algiers also congratulated Algeria, affirming that her election is of great importance to Arab countries, the African continent, and the world as a whole. Likewise, the ambassador of the U.S. to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, has extended her wishes to her country or to her counterpart, Amar Benjama. The African Union mission to the United Nations, for its part, extended its congratulations to Algeria and Sierra Leone for their mandate due to start early next year, expressing its readiness to work with the 2 countries to preserve international peace and security, notably in Africa.
In Morocco, the opponents to the country's normalization of relations with Israel have warned that the process, which is speedily implemented, will only cause chaos to the kingdom. In a statement to the press, the head of the Moroccan Human Rights Association condemned, as he put, the normalization hysteria affecting Morocco for the past few days that put the monarchy's future in danger. He reiterated in this connection his and all the Moroccans' rejection of all forms of normalization with Israel, including the visits successively made by the Israeli officials to Morocco. The human rights defender argued that the Moroccans' refusal was illustrated by the protest staged few days ago outside Parliament.
Russia has expressed regret at the tension and instability prevailing in the Middle East and Africa, mainly Western Sahara, still under Morocco's occupation in violation of international law and UN resolutions. Addressing a session of the UN Security Council devoted to cooperation between the UN and the Arab League, Russia's representative to the UN said he regretted that the situation in most states of Africa and the Middle East remained complex on account of the beds of tensions prevailing in the region. In this respect, he evoked the tension prevailing in Syria, Libya, Yemen, Sudan, and Western Sahara. It is worth recalling that Russia recently reiterated her opposition in favor of the UN efforts aimed at finding a fair solution to the Western Sahara crisis that will guarantee the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination.
And the Niger army announced having killed 3 gunmen in an attack on their military position near a gold mine in the region zone of Al Rit. The Niger army's fast reaction managed to repel the assailants, who after pursuits were able to flee to the north, leaving behind 3 bodies. And the army said to have seized 4 vehicles, arms and ammunitions from the attackers.
Still in Africa, in Sudan, fighting has resumed in the capital a few minutes after the end of a 24-hour truce, according to witnesses. Residents of Khartoum woke up with the sound of fighting in several districts of the capital. Heavy artillery shelling was heard in Khartoum and Omdurman, on the outskirts of the capital, and firing with various types of weapons. It's worth noting that previous truces with exchanges of fire had generally been violated as soon as they came into effect. The conflict has already claimed more than 1,800 lives and left 2 million displaced people and refugees.
2 soldiers have been killed and several others injured in an attack carried out by Al-Qaeda terrorist group in southern Yemen. The attack took place at a military checkpoint in the oil-producing province of Shabwa. According to a security source, 2 terrorists were also injured, but they managed to escape. Since 2015, Yemen has been the scene of a conflict between the governments, supported by a military coalition led by Saudi Arabia with the Houthi armed militias.
And to the Middle East now, where the Palestinian Foreign Ministry said that the protection provided by some major countries to Israel and their silence over its crimes were contributing to expand its occupation of the West Bank. It condemned the exactions carried out by the Israeli occupying forces and by the Jewish settlers against the Palestinian territory, including occupied Jerusalem. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry denounced Israel's crimes and violations as tantamount to war crimes as being part of its annexation plan of the West Bank. It stressed that all structural, legislative, and legal measures were taken by the Israeli authorities to fulfill their strategic objective without fear and without being questioned, criticized, or even accounted for.
Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah al-Khomeini has said claims that Tehran may pursue a nuclear weapon are false, or are a false excuse that untrustworthy international stakeholders use. He said that reaching a deal with the West over Tehran's nuclear activities was not an issue if the country's nuclear infrastructure remained intact. Jamal Silmani has more.
The Iranian Supreme Leader said 2 decades of challenges with world powers emanating from the country's nuclear program have shown that some of them, along with the International Atomic Energy Agency, cannot be relied upon to fully implement their commitments. Khamenei, however, emphasized that cooperation with the United Nations nuclear watchdog must continue within the framework of safeguards agreements and in compliance with a law passed by the Iranian Parliament in late 2020 that paved the way for advancing Iran's nuclear program. Iran and the International Atomic Energy Agency reached an agreement to strengthen their cooperation in early March in order to resolve cases that Tehran has maintained need to be finalized before the country's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers, which the United States unilaterally abandoned in 2018, can be restored. The Supreme Leader's comments come days after reports said that Iran and the U.S. are close to reaching a temporary deal that would swap some sanctions relief for reducing Iranian uranium enrichment activities. The White House and the Iranian government have said that there is no agreement for an interim deal.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that a long-expected counter-offensive from Ukraine had begun, but Kiev had so far failed to reach its goals. Speaking in a video interview published on Telegram, Putin stressed that Ukrainian troops did not reach their aim in any area of combat. Ukraine has for months said it was preparing a counter-offensive to repel Russian troops from its territories, but said there would be no formal announcement. Putin said Ukrainian forces had suffered significant losses, but the offensive potential of the Kiev regime still remains. For several days, the Russian army has said it repelled assaults in the south of Ukraine, which would be the open-end phase of Kiev's offensive. Kiev, however, said the main center of combat was still in Ukraine's east, while providing few details on the situation in the south. And with this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for our weekly program, the International Event of the Week, compiled by my colleague Jamal Silmani.
The International Event of the Week.
5 countries, including Algeria, were elected this week as non-permanent members of the UN Security Council following a vote in the General Assembly. Algeria, together with Guyana, the Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone and Slovenia, will join by the end of this year the 10 non-permanent members of the Council, made up of 15